Hey everyone, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I also hope your December is going great so far as well. Of course, as soon as I tell you guys my goal for the year is to hit 25,000 subscribers, the Halloween news completely dries up because the movie stopped filming. But that's okay, I'm not complaining. I had the best year yet on YouTube, and that's 100% thanks to you. So if you've watched any of my videos throughout the year, I just wanted to say thanks. But now, let's get into the Halloween news. The first thing I have to show you guys is actually pretty exciting because it might be the logo for Halloween Kills. So Diva Tyler, who's the actress who played the Graveyard Keeper in Halloween 2018, uploaded a picture to her Instagram of herself wearing a black hoodie with Halloween Kills printed on the back. I'm gonna be honest, at first I scrolled right by it because I thought it was the logo that Ryan Turek made for his production binder way back before the movie even started filming. You know, the one he said explicitly was not the logo for Halloween Kills. But then I took a second look at it and it is actually different in one key way. This new logo has kills spelled out in blood. We obviously haven't had confirmation one way or the other yet, but if this is the logo they decide to go with, I honestly won't be surprised or disappointed. I won't be surprised because it looks a lot like the logo for the new Black Christmas movie, and I won't be disappointed because having kills spelled out in blood is f***ing cool. It's basically telling us that yes, this is a brutal slasher flick at its core, and it works really well with that Mob Rules working title, which I said kind of feels grindhousey, and when you look at this logo, it feels grindhousey, and that's exactly what I want out of Halloween Kills. Again, we don't know if it's official or not yet, but let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. The next update I have for you guys is actually equally exciting, and it comes from Robert Longstreet, the guy who's playing Lonnie Elam all grown up in Halloween Kills. He was just in Mike Flanagan's Dr. Sleep, which is an absolute masterpiece, easily my favorite horror movie of 2019. I loved it so much. You need to see it if you haven't. But anyway, he sat down with Bloody Flicks to talk about his role in that movie, and they smartly, thankfully, asked him about Halloween Kills, and he had some pretty interesting stuff to say. The first thing he said is that Halloween Kills might be the nastiest movie in the entire franchise, and it actually has some pretty terrifying scenes in it, which honestly, that's what I wanted to hear. He also gave us some insight into Lonnie's relationship with his son Cameron, who's Allison's douchey boyfriend from Halloween 2018, if you don't remember. According to him, the Elam family is different than others in the sense that they love drugs and alcohol more than most. And I wouldn't necessarily call that surprising, since when Cameron shows up at the dance with Oscar in Halloween 2018, they're both plastered, and Allison doesn't seem happy about it. And I might be reading a little too far into that, but it definitely seems like there's conflict there between them. Another cool thing he said about Lonnie is that he's actually still haunted by the fact that he chickened out on going up into the Myers house thanks to Dr. Loomis when he was a little kid. Though as it turns out, Dr. Loomis was only delaying Lonnie's encounter with Michael Myers because, as we know from the short teaser we got back in October, he will be facing off against Michael in 1978 in a flashback, which I absolutely cannot wait for. When it was announced that Lonnie was coming back, I figured he'd be used to flesh out Cameron's character a little bit more before being killed off very early on in the movie, but now that we have all of these new details about him, I'm starting to think he'll actually play a pretty prominent role. We definitely don't have enough information for me to decide whether or not I like that, but one thing I am really excited about is that it's clear that David Gordon Green isn't throwing these characters back into the mix just for nostalgia bait. Every single one of them seems to have a reason to be there, and that's important. And now as for whether or not Lonnie's going to see the other end of Michael's butcher knife, see what I did there? Isn't that funny? No, it's not funny at all, and I should just stop recording now and delete my channel. I'm kind of leaning towards yeah, he is going to die though, because David Gordon Green has been talking about how he's trying to make Cameron more of a character this time around, and having his dad killed off while he's stumbling around drunk outside is a really good way to do that, but I'm still, again, just not sure. But as far as Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace go, I think it's fair to say that at least one of them is going to end up dead, at least in Halloween Kills. We have a pretty good idea that for the vast majority of this movie, Laurie's going to be incapacitated at the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, and that's mainly because we're almost positive this movie's picking up right at the end of Halloween 2018. And if Michael is able to kill Tommy and or Lindsay in this movie, that's great character motivation for Laurie heading into Halloween Ends, because not only did she fail to kill him in Halloween 2018, he was able to kill at least one of the two kids she protected from him 40 years ago. She she will be absolutely furious going into that next movie, and I think we need to see that. And of course, my ulterior motive here is that if one of them dies in Halloween Kills, it basically guarantees that Laurie will survive into Halloween Ends. And before you comment that Jamie Lee Curtis is in the press release for Halloween Ends, I don't feel like they're above tricking us in the sense that if she does die in Halloween Kills, they wouldn't leave her out of that press release for the third movie because that would spoil the second one for us, you know? But speaking of those returning characters, we did get confirmation from the Halloween Movies Twitter account that they will be teaming up at some point later in the movie. And that confirmation comes from a production still that shows Tommy, Lindsay, and Nurse Marion Chambers all at what looks like a bar in Haddonfield, but the point here is that they're together. And I know I've said a few times now that I was nervous about all these characters coming back, but honestly, seeing was f***ing believing because this shot is rad as hell. And I'm not gonna lie, another reason I love this shot is because it confirms a theory I had all the way back when they were starting to shoot the movie and they put out casting calls for a bar in Wilmington, North Carolina. Looking at the shot, I'm sure you immediately notice that they're all looking in the exact same direction. So what that tells me is they're either watching a news broadcast saying that yes, Michael Myers escaped, he's out on the loose once again, Laurie Strode was not able to kill him. But more likely, what I think is happening is that someone is at the front of the bar rallying them to all head out in a mob to hunt down Michael and finish him off once and for all. Of course, they're gonna fail because there's a third movie, but they'll probably put in a pretty good effort and I wanna see it. There are some other aspects to this shot that make me think it's actually taken from later in the movie. The first one being that we've already seen Lindsay Wallace pushing someone on a swing set. We've also seen Tommy Doyle in his driveway holding a baseball bat, and finally, Nurse Marion Chambers looks like she's wearing a badge in this shot, which wishful thinking, of course, makes me think she might work at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. And because of that, I feel like it could be Laurie at the front of the bar rallying everyone to go out and hunt Michael down. And that's of course because if Marion Chambers is at the hospital, she can bring Laurie to the bar. Obviously, movies aren't filmed in order, but this shot was used to announce that filming had wrapped, so in my mind, that's more evidence that it's taken from at least the second act or maybe even the third act. I also think it's worth pointing out that from this picture and basically everything we've seen from the movie so far, it looks like they're taking that increased budget and using it to flesh out Haddonfield even more, which is great in my opinion. So many Blumhouse movies basically take place in one or two locations, so I'm glad that Haddonfield is becoming more of a character. That's something I really wanted in Halloween 2018, and they kind of delivered on it, but they also kind of didn't. Like, there were deleted scenes that showed more of Haddonfield, but they were deleted. So at the end of the day, I'm glad that the budget is being used to increase the scale and scope of this movie, and having them film in different locations is just good for variety. Basically what I'm getting at is that going into Halloween 2018, there's a feeling of unknown and uncertainty because we didn't know what Blumhouse and Universal were doing with the movie, and David Gordon Green was a comedy director. But this time around, there's a feeling of confidence, and that just feels awesome. Obviously, the biggest contributing factor there is that they've already committed to making a sequel to Halloween Kills, which shows that they're confident in it, but that's a pretty risky move if you ask me, because if Halloween Kills isn't as good, if not better, than Halloween 2018, it's going to affect that movie's box office, and that will affect Halloween Ends box office even more. I don't know why, but I just have a gut feeling that David Gordon Green knows that though, and I don't think he's gonna let us down on either Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends. I did read an interview with Jamie Lee Curtis though that came off just a little bit weird because she was talking about how Kyle Richards coming back to play Lindsay Wallace is really gonna surprise people because it's so different than the role she plays on The Real Housewives or something or another. I just don't think that the general audience for Halloween Kills really gives a shit about that. They just want to see a good performance from Kyle Richards. Like, her coming back is a driving force to get me to go to the movie theater to see this movie because she's playing the same character she played 40 years ago. I could not care less that she was in some TV show, you know, like that doesn't really correlate for me at all. I'm not letting myself get too nervous though, because what David Gordon Green has shown by casting Anthony Michael Hall to play Tommy Doyle and Robert Longstreet to play Lonnie Elam, you know, not the original actors, is that he's more concerned with casting the right person to play a part instead of nostalgia baiting us. Anyway guys, that's all the Halloween news I have for you this week. I think this might be the last update for the year because every time I say that, a bunch of news pops up the next day, so I'm secretly crossing my fingers for that. I'm still kicking around a couple ideas though for the rest of the year, so this probably won't be the last time you see me in 2019. Also, if you missed it, last week I put up a video where I talked about 10 horror movies I'm really excited for next year, so make sure you go check that out and let me know which ones you're excited for down in the comments. Anyway guys, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Shape on.